Let's talk a little bit about laws. And this is an introduction to a series of videos I'm going to do on the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Right now, Saturn's moving towards Pluto, completing a cycle, and we're doing it. Like, this is going to be a completion of a cycle, and then it starts anew in the beginning of 2020, beginning a very powerful new phase. We often think of laws as these absolute statements of reality, but there's a difference between reality and what is a law. Laws are created and they're put upon the fabric of open reality, and they're established to create boundaries and parameters to guide and dictate the ways in which we are to live. So, for example, we have in any kind of society or government various laws that are set in motion that create boundaries. And every law has a consequence because you can break a law. And the fact that you can break a law, by the way, means the law isn't original to life. It's created. If it's original, you can't break it. Reality can't be broken. But a law can be broken. And so thus, if you're not going to follow the law, there are consequences. And if you follow the law, there are also consequences. Life will operate in a certain way depending on whether or not you follow the various laws that are manifesting in your time-space reality. We also have laws of, gravity, laws of time, laws of space. But what I want to offer is that all laws are not original to existence. The only thing that's original to existence is existence. But all manifestations within time and space are secondary. They are derivative. That which is primary is beyond cause and effect, is beyond causality. Now, I can probably go more deeply into this and speak more, but I don't want to get too conceptual. This itself is just a blossoming discovery on my own path. But if we can just meditate on the idea in general that a law will always have an exception. And even scientifically, when we establish an understanding of a law, there's always a point within the scientific discoveries that some deviation from that law will be discovered as well. And once that deviation is discovered, we have to go back to that law and revisit it and ask, well, why is there an exception to this law? How does that work? Every law on every scale, whether it's of the universe or of a society, it's just a law. And it's not original. It's not the source of reality. And the biggest law that we are conditioned by that we often forget and think is absolute is the law of time. And time equals cause and effect, where our consciousness gets so conditioned by this sense of, I did this in the past, and now I'm experiencing this now. You did this, and now I deserve this. We have to do this to get even. All these constructs of balance based upon a notion of self being linked with cause and effect, these ideas of balancing the scales, these notions of what I do and live and how I experience and know myself in this moment is dependent entirely upon my relationship to what has come before. And this exists, like this is very tangible. I ate something last night and I feel something right now. But I want to suggest, and again, I am always discovering this, but I won't claim an absolute abiding understanding or realization of this. And yet I find this to be true whenever I look inside, that all the experiences of causality within time and space, they're not set in stone as the absolute primary dictate of life that we must experience. And that our experience of causality, our experience of time and space, and our experience of all the different laws and rules and boundaries that are manifest in our life are very much specific to the nature of our own interior consciousness. And we have to know how our inside is conditioned, how our consciousness is conditioned and structured on the inside, to understand then the various laws, boundaries, parameters that we are working within and have to honor and have to respect. But when we really get to the deeper core of our interior consciousness, the deeper beliefs, the way we've been conditioned to think and believe about our life beyond conscious thought, right? It's like deeply ingrained within our soul essence that we're carrying from life to life. When we really uncover the thermostat of our own consciousness, right? It's like you turn the thermostat on, it'll maintain a certain temperature. And at every level of consciousness, certain rules exist. If you're living on a level of consciousness where you believe, I can't know what's right, I can't follow ethics. I need someone to tell me how to live. Then we're going to have certain constructs of, let's say, mainstream religion, where we will have to follow the guidance and the wisdom of those that came before us in many ways that can give us a basic guideline for living in a way that is in harmony and respectful and supportive for life. And you can take this to every level of consciousness. And there's no judgment of it. All of us in some way are bound according to our existing level of consciousness by laws and limitations. But there's immense growth and wisdom in us recognizing that these laws and limitations are relevant and necessary and important, but only at the level that we're at. And so when we see these evolutionary junctures manifesting in our life, like Saturn, Pluto coming into alignment, there is a great reworking. There's a huge shift happening within all of us, in the collective and within each of us. So over the next couple of videos or so, we'll see how many. I would like to unravel this a little more deeply and just talk about what's unraveling now and hopefully offer some insight and perspective for claiming greater sovereignty and power and unraveling and becoming aware of our own internal conditioning so we can see the growth that we can enable and enact at this time in our life through really understanding what's going on the inside. The more we understand what's happening on the inside, the more we can recognize the seeming boundaries, limitations, parameters that are manifesting in our life. And we can say, oh, I get it. Instead of fighting it and resisting it or avoiding it, it's time to recognize that I am one with them. They are all a match for me. And so there's a beautiful dance and a beautiful empowerment and healing that we create for ourselves and all of our relations when we can really understand the total structural reality of our lives is a perfect mirror for our internal reality.